Chernobyl has a rich history dating back to Middle Age, first mentioned in 1193, and the 16th century it was heavily influenced by the use. Chernobyl was very affected by War II and under the Soviet Union became a ship repair based on the Pripyat River. Due to its dense population and easy access to water resources, it was chosen by the Soviet Union Minister of Energy for the construction of a nuclear power plant 20 kilometers from Chernobyl. Construction of the Lenin nuclear power plant began in 1970. At the same time, Pripyat, the neighboring satellite town, was built, and after the first reactor was commissioned in 1977. The town of Chernobyl had 14,000 inhabitants. Thanks to a go transport connection, buses, trains, even ships, it became regional, centered with great prospects. The Soviet plans for the nuclear power plant were extensive. It was supposed to be the largest power plant in the world with 30 reactors, each of which would generate 1,000 megawatts of power. 4 reactors were already in operation and 2 more were under construction when its fate changed forever. Next. Pripyat was a utopia city in the former Soviet Union. We next to the Chernobyl nuclear power plant, it and all the modern luxuries the Soviet government could offer. And its shop never invited even interhands of time. However, its fate changed forever on 26 April 1986, bearing the burden of what is considered the worst accident in the history of nuclear power. Next. The city was founded on 4 February 1970 and was created to provide at-home workers and family members of the Vladimir Lenin nuclear power plant. Because of its location, it's some become one of the best place to live in the Earth. In 16 years, the population grew from 10,000 to 40,000 people. The designing of the city was intended to be as friendly as possible to workers at the plant. Neighborhoods were developed, rose bushes were planted, there was a cultural center, library, cinema, hotel, art school, concert hall, hospital, vocational school, gardens, coffee shops, and more than 10 kindergartens. Next. There were also recreational areas for families to spend days in the countries. Average age of citizens and first habitats was no more than 26 years old. More than 2,000 babies were born each year in Pripyat, so it was common to see many mothers with children. The plan was for Pripyat to be one of the most beautiful cities in the south of Ukraine. It had large avenues, 16 stone buildings, and about greenery.
Okay, now it's my turn. The first question is the more important. What happened in Chernobyl? Okay, this accident is considered the worst nuclear accident in the history of the world, as well as one of the great environmental disasters. 31 people died, in the 2 weeks following the accident. The government of the Soviet Union evacuated 335,000 people who were never again able to return to their homes. Great alarms was raised international after very levels of radiation activity were detected in 30 countries in the Earth and their center, the Europe. Okay, the second, why did the reactor explode? Many considered that the Chernobyl accident was due to the accumulation of the gas in the reactor substations. However, this theory was discarded, and the more accurate one was given, which was due to the human error in the matter of the pillars that keep the reactor its constant cooling. The experiment failed, since the water levels that cooled the reactor was dangerously low. The whole experiment was to shorten the time in which the diesel pumps come into the for cooling of the reactors. This experiment failed and produced the first explosion of the reactor. After the explosion, it was all a matter of the time for the your explosion to come. Okay, in this image you can see the countries with radiation. The explosion wasn't the problem. The problem was the clouds of radiation that were expelled into the air, and these were absorbed by the clouds and transported to different points of Pripyat and Chernobyl. The radiation wasn't as concentrated as the Pripyat, but it degenerated disease in the people who were exposed to this vapor. Here we can see a map of the rich measured in the square meter and the level of concentration. Many people did because the government didn't worry about the accident. People thought they were fireworks and they went on the street to see the show. What they didn't know was that they were behind poison. You can see this image. What happened in radiation is pure in the body. In this image you can see the symptoms of radiation overexposure and the consequence the most serious behind it. Radiation is the most serious disease of the all diseases because no matter if you take medication or not, radiation levels consequent at the DNA levels depending on the amount of radiation to which the person is exposed. In this table, in this image, in this column, the first you can see comparing exposure. The low is the dental X-ray, and the most dangerous is, for example, the your accident, for example, in Fukushima, and the Pripyat in your typical in this. And the your type, the radiation is, for example, the exposure and the sun. This radiation is over natural, no, it's bad for the people, but the artificial that it's dangerous because no, it's natural, it's artificial, did it but a long time. In your column you can see what happened if you expure, for example, 2 3 euro, 6 6 the 5 6 euro, and your example, the more symptom is that it's the more than.
This time I will tell you about the most interesting and most curious of Chernobyl. The radiation in Chernobyl was greater than in Hiroshima and Nagasaki because the atomic bombs exploded in the air, causing the radiation to dissolve in the surrounding sea and in at ground level the radioactive subsoil. Exclusion on how to enter. You have to go strong security points. You need to have your passport and a special permit to access. Is still very neglected. That is his best attraction, a place from which you cannot take anything you can. Fin and jeep tourists, the best experience. Tours include access to some open areas, such as the famous Pripyat, seeing with the yard of its foundation, or the amusement park with its Ferris wheel, which has established itself as the most photographed place in the area.
Chernobyl. Chernobyl in Ukraine, the scene of one of the greatest catastrophes in history, and the official seat of the new HBO series, and that is breaking records and is known. The Chernobyl accident was a nuclear accident that occurred at the Vladimir Lenin nuclear power plant, 3 kilometers from the city of Pripyat, present-day Ukraine, causing thousands of deaths and a great shock in the world. Considered together with the Fukushima nuclear accident in Japan as the most series of international scale of nuclear accidents in constitutes one of the largest environmental disasters in history. 7 years have passed since the accident, and a nuclear plant and very few people have entered here, some of fear, others because they think they are going to catch something radioactive. There were radiation leaks. The only way to contain them was the new structure they created to replace the sarcos, which deteriorated over the years, creating a potentially dangerous situation in the waters of the area.